Okay, one day the white sun, winter solstice, northern realms. What's the date? We're missing a day here. It's happened before. December 20th, 2023, 80 Sosa. What's interesting to me about that is not just how it happens, but then you'll be interested in sort of revisiting a lot of these. I realize literally no contemporaries will tune into these meditation reflections. They are for the ancestors and whatever becomes their form. I'm also certain that the barbarian intellect will not comprehend that the clansmen already practice this, which I'll relate to you now. That's one of my favorite jokes in the special days. Like where you talk about, I think it's oatmeal. You got oatmeal tattooed on the inside of your wrist. Out in the courtyard is some regala. It's crux eye of a large tree. And this is decorated right now, and I've discussed that a bit. That's that's the sidearm sizer Aquilix of the sacred Two Crow Brothers and Indomitable Eagle Legion, International Humanitarian Division. Throughout the various predecessor Caesar and Caesar, they covered in one of the last videos, meditation reflections, founding trade houses to protect the chattelborn. The chattelborn are either barbaric or clansmen. So the clansmen are auxiliaries, and they already practice something similar to this. So, Ponkyo. We invoke the ancestors to protect us, guide us, section, maritime, and continent, keep us from danger, protect us, share their sacred knowledges with us. I feel like Gen Z is incredible, and I don't believe that they're just on TikTok. I think they're wicked. They're out there. They're doing stuff. They're like, and keep us company. Protesting climate change and dismantling rigid gender binaries. Like, what was I doing? I was like slithering around, being like, does anyone have any answers? I suppose. Well, we have a new refugee here at the Monastery of the Sacred Grove. They're great, Gen Z. Yeah, I think they're really great. They come to my shows and they just seem light years ahead of where I was at that age for sure. Speaking of kind of creating things, I wanted to play a clip from Zach. You know, the humanitarians are under no delusion that refugees are somehow like puppies or something innocent. I often hear criticism that refugees, economic immigrants, displaced people
internally displaced people, internationally displaced people, economic immigrant, internal of the political units are like a plague, right? I guess what I'm curious about, David, is what was it like for? And the honest answer is there's two kinds. There's the barbaric, nobody wants. Nobody wants to hire, nobody wants them around. Anyone who's settled in an economic activity doesn't want a barbarian nearby. Doesn't want a barbarian working for him. Doesn't want to entertain a barbarian. And then the clansmen. And the citizens, they get displaced and all that as well. So, so refugee is a refugee, and they're granted legal protection under international treaty. Whether you're prepared to take one in or mentor one or give them a safe space to recoup and recover and possibly return to their country post conflict. Honestly, it's the darkest of ages. There's literally nowhere on the planet that's not experiencing genocide. Right? There's 8 degrees of genocide. So, practically, I mean, for instance, Israeli Palestine, they're slaughtering each other right now in unlimited total warfare. Both having a case for belligerence. So many orphans, so many killed parents and children, relatively innocent people, yet either barbarian, clansman, or citizen. And nobody has anything to give them. We are, as Scringe Meager, right? So, what do they flee from? All conflict is based in demagoguery. And demagoguery, all the precursors to conflict and genocide is demagoguery. And essentially, these are ancient human trafficking specialized merchants. And they plagued mankind since the reorganization of the planet for mankind, humans. So, not long after everything was reorganized and the resources placed, the universe descended into demagoguery. And so we're used to it. And once you know what it is, you can rationalize what it is. But, however, the naive, even if one is a functional clansman, rationalizing that isn't always possible. You often lose control and that kind of thing. So it is a demagoguery, and so how do you, as a leader or someone interested in improving their sacred space, how do you do that? What is it? What are the obvious things you're seeing that you can fix? Right?
I wanted to have a nice time, and I was touring.
What can you actually do?
Stand up, and yeah, I just found I was gravitating towards silliness more, and
100 years old to your first day on out of your mother's womb, you're always asking, what do I do with this? What do I do? So there's 8 kind of components to
35 years old. It took me so long to do that.
how and what to do in your community with demagoguery. Now, the first thing is you're going to realize the fright. There's nearly always a flight or flight reflex. From your first day out of the womb, well, first day of conception, to your last day on earth in Hades' depth, there's a near constant flight or flight. So how do you improve settled harmony from conditions of D-range rating? And the obvious answer is you have to worship something, or learn a science, some skill to deal with it. You have to find some compensating mechanism. You're experiencing fright from day one to eternity. If you're hoping for relief without doing anything, it's not going to happen. Right? So we worship, in this regard, we worship the Aquilics, which is symbolic of the continents and ocean floors aquifer. Now a legionary manipular carries their Aquilics in ceremony, and it's symbolic of well, each Aquilix has medicine in it, whether it's helionistic like me, what I practice, or indigenous medicine of some kind. I mean, it's symbolic of, well, for one, you haven't dropped your Aquilix and left it behind and fleed. And a demagoguer, one of their tactics is to suggest to all the people that you've given up and you're weak and you're ready to give up your home and land. And anyone who's hungry on the planet hears that, and the animals hear that. You understand? You haven't abandoned your Aquilix, Regella. So that's verifiable. The next thing is, if you're even engaged in regala or worship, ceremony, and ritual of any kind, you're going to have sacred objects. And so that's symbolic of your settled harmony. So literally it's the worship surrounding it, the intentions, the sextant or dissextant. So what are you invoking? What are you worshiping as a people or region? So I can only imagine. No, I don't imagine. I know. So, for instance, when a refugee comes to you, you know, you're filled with compassion for the scrawny refugee that has Nothing has need for months. Thirsty. No weather is shot at or sleeping in ditches or whatever. But however, you gotta expect that they're actually barbarians because that's the nature of extreme dystopian and house vulgarities.
10:30 Pacific time, 11:30 in the Mountain Time Zone.
So this particular refugee, I
Crown Council says no charges have been laid.
went to put my trash bag in the dumpster.
4 people were killed and dozens injured in the Christmas
And he approached me
went off the road.
barbarically,
Police say road and
chaotically.
weather conditions were factors. Prosecutors say the accident did not meet the standard for criminal charges.
And
A 28-year-old woman has been charged with first-degree murder after a woman's body was found in
around
a
here,
home on Monday. The woman
for the longest time, I haven't practiced predictable courtship, so often deals are made verbally, and and they often fail and end in bloodshed or whatever, right? Barbaric behavior. So I said, well, write down whatever contract you have to be here, right? Because it wasn't my doing. Oh, I understand. I said, you're illiterate, aren't you? Oh, nah. Informed me it was in a sacred territory, traditional territory of the Kootenai, and there's several layers of ancestors in the world, and he also wanted some car parts or something. Anyway, he was in a rush, chaotic and babbling a little bit, focused on what he wanted things from me, right? I just met him, this barbarian, 2 days ago, and he's already demanding things, right? That's what barbarians do. So I said I'll have to consult with the ancestors on the car parts, and I want a written. What is this that you are doing? I want a written agreement, or it won't even have. Well, he says, just what's the price, right? Like kind of this casual Canadian. What's the price? Just give me or whatever, right? It doesn't work. So anyway, today came up to the Sacred Villa and splashed coffee all over the floor and sat in my throne chair and spilled coffee on my desk and basically just made a mess of the place. And that's also what barbarians do. They just enter homes and yak, babble, and demand things. And so obviously a barbarian, right? Not a clansman, has no grace whatsoever. So I wouldn't. So one has to wonder in this situation, and this is sort of the genesis of why this meditation subject came up today. One has to wonder. About the troubled and barbaric people these refugees come from, right? Obviously. So that's the nature of this community's billions of people, billions of barbarians. Um, full of barbarians. And anyway, the inferior, not to call it in question again, because I often do, I'm like, oh, this can't be real, but it is. The empirical data supports that finding that is all extreme dystopian and house vulgarity. So the humanitarian often is criticized for endeavoring to protect the innocent and in these far-flung places like Israel and Palestine. And obviously, like, I suppose we look just over the horizon to a golden age. Right? Because if we do nothing, the whole system fails. Right? If we do nothing, there'll just be billions more barbarians. Yeah, affected by freight, raised in freight, demagoguery, extreme dystopian, and now vulgarity. And I suppose that is the role of all my predecessors and why they found these trade houses to provide for the welfare of their barbarians. You know, I know the Klansmen can basically look after themselves and have for centuries. However, if you Klansman has a baby and too busy working or whatever, baby is a barbarian. Right? If they don't teach them the ways of their people, they become barbarians. And there is billions of. Okay, so the whole community becomes frayed. Social interactions, expressing fear. They'll babble various degrees of the four transactional analysis. Ego states, right? I can't help it. It's just what it is. Barbarians are usually attuned to the most gluttonous cults. And they're incompetent in everything. Empty feed bags. That leads us to what are they really? Barbarians. Why do they come? Are they deranged raiding as an organized raiding party? Well, or is it just individual stragglers? Or are they a reconnaissance party? Or what is it, right? Who are these people? And they call that freak ugly, strange, unknown, unexplained. What are they? Who's going to answer that? And then there's the fickle, the strange traditions, the aligned government, and the Faust, the fighting and the rioting in the ghetto, where the barbarians end up. What do you make of that? Oh man, that's so nice. That's so moving, and I wish I could. If I could go back in time to my 13-year-old self and play that. And also, I said the same thing about Carolyn. You know, yeah, we've been friends for so long. We've seen each other through these different iterations of our. And the fatigue. cringe meager to improve civilized cornucopia. So they fatigue the estuary, which ruins the weather, ruins crops, and diseases us. And then there's the very fact that it's what they call oils. They do this to exhaustion. So they've confirmed, witnessed tragic incidents, ethereal experiences. They've just confirmed that in their barbaric horde from clansmen that this is the way to behave, and that's the nature of a barbarian. So what do you do as a humanitarian legionary auxiliary? It's really lovely. Before I let you go, Euphrator, Caesar, and worship Athena, right, Frank? That's what they've always done. And if you have a better answer, post below. And I'll certainly read it and study it. So, a world of refugees. Only a quarter of them engaged in any useful economic activity. What are the songs about? What are you writing about? Just sort of being alive. So the Athena is the Empiric's forum. Yeah, I hope maybe one day I'll do something with it, but I also don't want to ruin the joy of it by trying to monetize it, you know. But music, food, friends, dogs in any. Well, if one's traditional, that's basically everything. I travel too much, but I'm deeply, profoundly obsessed. I'm trying to get traditional citizenship. Yeah. Right? I'm trying to get one, but I'm banned from every SPCA. What are the Canadians called? The Order of Canada, they call it the Hagu. What kind, bigger? The sizer Hagu. Yeah, corgi. Everything. Yeah, that would be fun. Corgi mix would be good too. Like a corgi mix or something. Yeah. Yeah. So I worship Athena. And, May, we loved your special so much here. And I've been looking forward to it. It's thanks for I'm so glad we made it happen. Yeah, thanks so much, Tom. Thanks for making the time. It's a Greco-Roman goddess that I spoke with May Martin a few months ago. I got an update for you. I still don't. Of the Perks Forum. Comedian May Martin, May's new stand-up special called Back. You'll find that the more you get into this, everything's in Perks Forum. In Perks Forum, right? So, right. So anyway, and I suppose that's what we were doing all through the obscure childhood. Was worshipping at the Empiric's Farm, Athena. Culti, and we built dams and oil refineries and highways and I mean all the time they were telling us we were worshipping Athena, but however it was unprofessional and he's been in Quentin Tarantino movies like Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You might remember that one. Anyway. George Spahn, who owns the Spahn Ranch and is still there. Now I know profoundly what this is. Laura Dern, who's also a legendary actor, has been on the show before. Bruce's latest film is a new Canadian film called Hands That Bind, which is a prairie. These are 8 runic Latin language of the Anglo-Saxon Norman people. And you actually sing it whether you're afraid, fatigued, afraid, Afraid, like mentally ill. Freaked out, whether you're so skinny you can barely stand or fat as a pig. Whether you've been ostracized or you're an old patriarch. Whether you're pretty sure you're going to be killed or you have been killed. Whether you're a Frank Streisman Saxon or just worshiping your Aquilics or your auxiliary staff. So, I'm going to sing out this Saxon song. All the ancestors will hear it for all time. And since you've never done this before, let's start with your heart and take everything from your heart. Yeah, it's part of the worship. That's how we worship. You sing gently to the aquilics. You sing gently to water. You sing gently to fire, clay, the air, either. You sing gently and that'll manifest. It's not a roaring barbarian's way, but that's how it's done. Well, first I'll have the smoke. So, and if you have a line or two, you're lucky. So make sure that every role you take. Not only is this a Saxon song, I'm making my hand numb these barbarians. Not only is it a Saxon song, but it's mathematics, Euclidean geometry. In the city, even though it's not on the page. Right. And I said, how do I get away with that? So, something that you would never ever have. Is predictable. And I said, what's that? As astrological events can be. It's not permission granted. It's whatever you're feeling. And because it will be real, people won't stop it. Right. That's why I never tell anybody what I'm going to get into. So I rehearse, but I don't rehearse the hate. Like Quentin and Alexander Payne, and even Francis Coppola. We can't write the shit. Yeah, I suppose I should get going. Because it comes out of him. He does it. So my computer has 8 or 10 gigabytes on the operating system. And on D drive, it's got a terabyte. However, a video is more than this computer's operating system can bear, but you can store it. You just can't. So I have to erase all these videos, so they'll just be left on YouTube for, well, contemporaries, but ancestors and descendants. Plus, I'll be able to interact with them for babies. It'll work out, you know that. They've already taken a symphonic of the moment. Right, not all lines are gonna make it, but however. Everything's all right. Sorry to disturb you. Do we want to be like proud robots, or actually what we are? We've got in a symphonic style. It's called Extraordinary Monarchy Idyllic. Right? It's a kind of, what do you call it? Like choreography. and it gives the viewer, the crowd, however the entertainers put it. I'm a novice in this. Sort of a theater experience, right? And ours is extraordinary monarchy idyllic. Standard radio telegraphy, and so I don't know if that's getting through on these, but that's what it's supposed to be. So these professional actors and filmmakers and that kind of thing know all about cutting and editing to a standard. So obviously I'm lying on my bed in the dragon pose, and I hope it gives you the impression that there's some order in the universe, but these are meditation reflections and public gazetting. For that future generation that can look back and confirm, at least with their own eyes, their own flesh eyes, that it's not just the realm of God and useless, empty promises and dumb things in the city I'm in, right? Like an intelligent, natural born leader, full citizen 64th peerage, if they're not indoctrinated and exercised, they become a plague as well. Only they're able to project into the form. In the empirics forum, I like the Clads bit of the barbarians. So that literally gets manifested in the universe. So if we do nothing, what they'll manifest is bullshit. Right? If we don't Caesarize right? What will they manifest? Fear, things out of each other. Rap music, culture, drugs and alcohol. Chris, what do you make of that? The advice that well, they attempt to subjugate each other. These new full citizen freeborn. Right. Well, that's their manifest Disney. They'll sure have a hard time of it. They do. Do they embrace the empirics forum and their basic goodness and manifest the golden age? I don't know. But they definitely improve. So, mission objective, absolutionists, objective achieve. Really. Well, the beginning of the beginning. Anyway, this is how it goes. And so we're climbing up these stairs to the second floor, and we look into a bedroom. Oh, you. 10% glass in it. The rest is just a frame. You. A broken down bed for one. Bigger than a crib, but still a bed for one. A tricycle with only 2 wheels on it. And the lyrics for that what are FEAREIYAI. There's 8. And what that invokes is, what are we gonna do with all this fright and afraid and freak and feckle and false and fatigue and the obvious genocide? Athena, right? What are we gonna do in the future? You gotta be aware that the barbarians are bobbleheaded to either right now. Right? The most demented things. Right? Causing pain in your muscles, fatiguing you, trying to make you fear. So you literally have to, I suppose, find a deep well of reservoir and sing to the ancestors. Worship. Do your people's way. Now this next invocation, 8 runic. This is regarding the what you've witnessed. Obvious tragic incidents confirmed in your psyche. Often ghetto takes on a culture of mean despair, and that's how what's confirmed in the people, a culture of despair and treachery. So you have to overcome that somehow. So that's what this invocation is. Well, in this case, do you Dereioai. Oh, that's your people's ethereal observers, astrological observers. There's 8 different kinds, different types. Again, eugenics. And now there's socially engineered paranormal remote viewers that are socially engineered to a degree of exactness that confirming facts, correlating data. It's possible. Intelligence gathering. This next invocation invokes the universe that you manifest from and spend eternity in as a human, an animal, or a plant, or a thing.
Toronto Libraries escape basketball hero Kawhi Leonard Virginia's librarian dance in the stacks.
UEAXEI.
Long overdue.
Caesar's hand.
Boom of library marketing under the
AI
Tomorrow morning at 11:30, 3:30 p.m. in Newfoundland, and on the CBC Listen app. The CBC News is next, and then it's commotion. Every so often, a filmmaker comes along with a singular, powerful voice that you can't help but pay attention to. Canada lost one of those voices.
Now the X, of course, is the authorial observation of what's happened. And then there's the authorial observation of what's going to happen in the cosmos. The future.
Good morning, I'm Robert Zimmerman. In a year-end interview with the CBC Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he has seen a shift in tone from the Indian government. It comes 3 months after Trudeau accused Indian agents of possibly being involved in the murder of a Sikh activist here in BC, and he believes there will eventually be Indian involvement in Canadian investigation. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he is coming around. Openness to collaborating. Last September, Trudeau
So this is a
in the House of Commons. Canadian security
depletion runic to death.
Credible allegations of a potential link
EALEXAII. And this next invocation is Atheni. Howie. Adapt and overcome. So the culti of Atheni is the forum, the imperch forum, where the people gather, talk about their problems, philosophize about how to solve them, make plans for the economy, create culture, art, various, to communicate ideas. Vanilla sauce, like this. And what else? Diplomacy. Well, then you tell you. So it's the Atheni runic.
Now, this landmark ruling doesn't apply outside Colorado, but it
EATEI, Caesar's hand, runic. AIII. And the next invocation, the sixth invocation, is the phalanx, the legionary, manipular, auxiliary, skirmishers, or whatever they are. Their method of organizing. And that's different in every region. And they have their traditional way of organizing the region. Right? So for let's say the largest region in Pakistan, what they do is corral different a kind of direct approach. They don't shy away. They enshroud you in a predictable Euclidean geometry pattern. The auxiliaries of their region do, which is different geometry than West Coast Canadian auxiliaries. the general of an army, of a nation's army, or a legion, an auxiliary, would be wise to study the geometry, Euclidean geometry of a region, as it gives you a telltale sign of how they charm or enshroud the manipulator. Earlier this month, Charles Officer died. Today on the podcast, we celebrate his vision and how he helped the next generation of filmmakers. It's also how the merchants, etc. It's also their his language is an octave of debating transfer information through the ether. And the Euclidean geometry presents in the way they speak language. So obviously, if you're barbaric, confrontation uses a certain language. It'll give you telltale signs of what they're about to do. Anyway, so bon P-E-A-H-E-I, Caesar's hand runic, A-I-I-I. Now this is where the barbarians sometimes have a use, and the clansmen certainly do. And the citizens would be wise to realize that. And this is how most economic activity, culture activity, diplomacy, and militas is organized. No, you bone. Bogan the Axiers and the Acres. You N-E-A bon U-I-O-J-A-I-I-I. And this next invocation, the eighth invocation of the Saxon song, hymn. The eighth. C-E-A question mark runic E-I exclamation mark runic A-I-I-I. And that's an acrylic worship. And you invoke that in front of your acrylics, your staff as an auxiliary. Citizen Marn Quillix, Legionary. You sing that as well. We both sing that. That's our standard Saxon hymn song. So the martial artists and the creative artists, no matter how much fear and dread and facing a barbaric horde you feel,
you don't get to work with other directors, which is so amazing about the future for us.
You just sing, right? You summon your best singing voice, and you sing to the acrylics as gently as possible, individually or as a group.
Sometimes I don't know, man.
And that's
This is just what I thought of, and I hope it works. And
how to manifest
really helped me
divine order
how I approach things
in
differently.
your people.
Art is not something to be guarded; it's something to be shared.
However, they say, oh, there's only one acrylics, and that's mine. Planted anywhere in the world, there's similar symbolics, but however, the contemporaries are basically unable or unwilling, and the ancient citizens, of course, are minding the new citizens. As they do. Our clansmen have their ways, and every clan, and the barbarians just sort of die and be consumed by the demagogues. So disease and despair. So one must have compassion for barbarians as I do for clansmen. I'm Christianized, and all man is made in the image of God. So, although a barbarian is filled with hate and contempt and often cannibalism, they are made in the image of God. Last thing we'll do is Christian Knight's Cross, and the ancient citizens were, of course, Christians themselves, Christianized to a great degree. Not that I fully endorse everything that Christians are doing, which
it's really worth noting.
And once you're done with your invocations, you meditate for 15 minutes to rationalize the fear, clear your mind, prepare for exercise or work detail or whatever it is. And
what is this scenario that we're all waiting for? The problem is that the victims are the wrong color. They are not seen as ever possibly being in crisis. They are always seen as a threat. That is a clip from The Skin We're In, that's a documentary that centers on award-winning writer Desmond Cole's journey.
So the song, the singing,
I'm looking back on Charles Officer's film legacy with
worshipping,
motion, and RT. Amanda, what started Charles Officer?
So obviously your local acrylics and staff will have a culture of its own. However, each region makes up the entirety of the architecture. So as they do plant their acrylics and staves and as you so that's basically it. Oh, and when Caesar raises his hand and debate ends. Right? So that's the nature of the inputs. So whatever we're hearing, and that's reliable. Okay, Improviser Augustine I, short end.